Greg here on the third floor. Welcome to episode 9, where my guests Jesse and Patrick and I break down the Guild's Nellie Cochran in Malifaux 3rd edition. How does a journalist crew perform on the table? You know you're our favorite listener, so please rate our podcast or even write us a review. This will help us find more people almost as cool as you are. Enjoy the episode. There are few things better than sitting at a table, unplugging, and going to battle with some friends. Welcome to another episode of Tabletop Talk. If you're looking for strategies, reviews, and tips on everything related to board games, card games, and miniature games like Malifaux, you are in the right place. This episode is a direct port from one of our YouTube videos. Be sure to subscribe to the Third Floor Wars YouTube channel. The link is in the show notes. Craig here on the third floor. With me today, we've got Jesse Watson and Patrick Healy, and we're talking Guild. Quick disclaimer, when we filmed this, the M3 was still in open beta, so some of the details we talk about might change, but thematically everything should remain about the same. Time to talk about Nellie Cochran, the journalist in the Guild. So if I'm picking Nellie as my leader, what am I expecting her to do?
Make your opponent hate you.
Yeah.
She's...
Be prepared for salt. There will be some salt.
Okay. Because...
She's going to hand out press release upgrades, which make your life miserable, make my life better. She's going to make you slow. She's going to make you drop markers, probably where you don't want the markers, which is going to screw up your placement for other markers.
And then she'll draw a card for making you drop the marker.
And her if anybody in her crew that can see you gets focused when you drop that marker.
Wow, okay.
And then she's going to use those markers to do horrible things to you. She's going to move around. You're not going to be able to kill her.
So talk to me about horrible things. What are horrible things that are going to happen?
The number one horrible thing is she's going to put a press release on you.
Yes.
This is a stat 7. She's going to make it land. She's going to drop the card to make it land on you. Because until end of game, this upgrade will be attached to your model. Every time that model activates, it will gain Distracted 1.
Okay.
And then Nellie will either draw a card or gain a pass token.
Wow.
Nellie's choice.
Yes.
So you are basically debuffed until the end of the game. You'll take 2 damage when she applies it to you, and the next time that she applies another upgrade, it's once per turn, fortunately, then you'll take 2 damage again.
Wow. Okay.
As well, there's a lot of the models in her list play off of the fact that you have that on you, including Fiona, who's going to be your beater. We'll get to that in a bit.
We'll talk about that.
So she's going to add all these debuffs. She's going to make you do things you don't want to do. And you're going to be salty because your models are still going to be on the table. They're not going to die that fast.
Right.
They're just going to feel kind of useless.
Just neutered.
Then after she applies the press release, her other 2 APs are probably going to be just making your model slow.
Okay.
Just reach up. You're slow now.
So distracting is slow.
Some incidental damage. I believe there's incidental damage built on it as well. Yep. If you're engaged, you'll take damage when she makes you slow as well. And then she's going to move around. She's going to put ski markers if she wants to because she has Don't Mind Me.
Wow.
Then when she drops that ski marker, she's going to heal. So the little bit of damage you put onto her, she's going to heal that back up. And then late game, once you've got all the ski markers around, she's going to hit you with reveal sources and damage you based off how many ski markers are around you.
Oh, wow. Okay. So indirectly, she's a beater a little bit.
Late game, yes. Once it's a combo piece. It's not something you're planning to do, but if the opportunity arises, you hit them with reveal sources.
Yeah.
Wow.
And just remove them all. And
how about her totem, the printing press?
It's kind of a second master almost.
Okay.
It's armor 2. If you have a press release on you, it's effectively a min damage 3 totem.
Wow, okay.
Remember how Jesse said you can only put 1 press release out per turn? If it hits you and you don't have a press release, you get a press release.
And that's not limited to once per turn.
No, it's not.
So if you have some way to make the printing press take multiple attacks, you could potentially hand out all your, well, not all, but up to all of your press releases in 1 turn.
No kidding.
Now, caveat, those don't get the 2 damage trigger, but that's whatever.
You're still neutering the model.
Exactly.
And slowing it down.
It also has Arcane Reservoir, just because.
Okay.
It's armor 2.
Uh-huh.
With a built-in self-heal.
Yes, that's right. Built-in self-heal. I forgot about that.
Bonus action to ditch cards. It can heal itself, which is expensive, sure. But remember that Nellie's going to draw a card every time she's forcing you to take a ski marker, or every time that one of your already tagged models activates.
She's going to draw a
so
card.
by the end of turn 2, you're going to have 3 to 4 models with a press release on them.
Yes.
Which means she's just auto-drawing 3 to 4 cards off that, plus whatever else she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. That's Nellie Cochran. All right, let's talk about a journalist crew. Nellie's my leader. I'm going to be bringing in a bunch of journalist models. One of the things I'm seeing is chasing a story, so why don't we start there?
You would bring Nellie to something where you know your opponent's going to have to interact.
Okay.
So we're talking, maybe turf war, but really for plant explosives and for cursed idols. You're going to arrange all of your journalist models so that they can see whatever point has to be interacted with, and just wait for your opponent to have to make that terrible decision, because then they're all going to gain focus.
Wow.
Now, this is big, this is scary, that is massive efficiency. The only thing that keeps that from being just bonkers good, it's already very good, is they don't have damage.
Except her henchman.
Who doesn't get chasing a story?
She does not, but she gets plenty of other stuff off of that.
So let's talk about Fiona.
Okay, Fiona Gage is her henchman. She's armor 1. She's hard to kill. She has take the hit, so she can basically take hits for other players in her crew. She ignores pluses to your defense, or pluses to duels when she hits you in melee. She ignores hard to wound. She's +1 damage if you have a press release. She has several different nasty triggers. She can get blast off her melee. Just make sure she can give you slow and discard a card on her attack. Now, these are triggers she has to stun for, of course. We'll get the card in there for her. She has the you're looking at me, lure you back in.
Wow, okay.
Yep.
That's good. Is she squishy? Pretty resilient? How many wounds does she have?
She's 10 health, armor 1, hard to kill.
That's pretty good. That's
it's not
pretty
bad.
Good.
Now, she gets plus flip sources.
She gets plus up to already with detached press release model, yeah.
So a common strategy will be have Nellie tag a model with a press release, and then push using the push towards a ski marker, push Fiona up into play. Fiona's now plus flips on everything versus that model press release and holding it down.
Wow.
And ignoring hard to wound, ignoring any pluses to your defense.
Uh-huh. Any other journalist models that deserve a call out?
Undercover reporters.
Okay.
Absolutely.
If you're going to take turf war, they're great. You get them in position for the turf war, and then you effectively say, start of their activation, they gain staggered and shielded +2.
Wow, okay.
And they're also disguised.
I think what really, though, is the game warping ability of the undercover reporters, and, they're enforcers, limit 1, this is very important, is they can start the game buried.
Yes.
And then when they would activate, they can activate and point at a minion, enemy minion on the table and say, that guy, I unbury beside that guy.
Yes.
And then the opponent has a choice to place their minion anywhere within their deployment.
Or gains.
So you could send somebody back. Was it? Did I miss something?
No, it's that. Yeah. And then it gains slow.
Yeah, and then the undercover reporter gains slow. So they've only got the 1 AP to use that term. They still have a good 0 to use and good options for it. And that 1 AP, so they could, completely undo the movement that your minion just did.
I was just thinking, you're sending a flanker to do a very specific job, and all of a sudden an undercover reporter pops up and...
I mean, they run a minion up to get a table quarter on your half of the table that they think's open. Suddenly, it's back in their deployment zone. You've got that table quarter now.
Yeah, so it shifts the thought on activation order, where maybe early on you would think, okay, here's my flanker minion. I'll activate it first. Obviously, you might now wait till later in the game to try and force that undercover reporter. So that's one of the models that'll shift up the activation order, which I think is an interesting effect on the overall game strategy.
And a bonus action, bonus action that no flip needed, just remove a ski marker within 6 inches.
And push 6.
And push, that's right, and push as well.
That's a big deal.
So you don't need a card for it. If they're in 6 inches, remove a ski marker, push.
They also have arson. So in terms of anti-ski marker, from, was it 10 inches these days?
It is 10 inches, yep.
They can turn a ski marker into a little fire, do some damage perhaps.
It's a shockwave.
And then make it go away.
Interesting. Now, off camera, you guys have been mumbling about Nellie, not just as a leader, but as a potential second master. So let's talk a little bit about bringing her as a second master. Where do you see her being good? Who's a good leader that benefits from Nellie as a hire?
I know you have thoughts on this.
I absolutely have thoughts on this. So she is almost an auto take with Dashel.
Oh, okay.
Because his summon really benefits, really for efficiency, wants enemy ski markers that she can provide, as well as just the support, the card draw, the debuffs that she can chuck out there are just hugely helpful for that. There's also a great amount of synergy between elite and journalists. In fact, there are a number of models.
That's the Lucius crew.
The Lucius crew, the investigators from Lucius, and the false witnesses are already elite journalists.
Oh, okay.
Alan Reed actually has some play with the journalists. And so I think there's a lot of crossover you could find between these two lists.
And what are journalists afraid of? What is that crew afraid of?
Condition removal.
Condition removal.
Oh, okay.
Their objective is to bury you in distracted, staggered, and to keep you away from them with that. Their defenses are largely that you're distracted and they're sitting on a focus that they can use for a plus flip.
Sure.
But if you can wipe those things off the table, you have journalists.
Yeah, they're very squishy. Once you manage to land a hit on them, they fold.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. So knowing that, do you see a lot of out of keyword hires that are attractive in a journalist crew, or maybe some versatile models that kind of help shore things up a little bit?
I could almost see a Peacekeeper in this list, just for something that can actually put some damage.
Interesting.
And take a hit.
I wouldn't go Peacekeeper necessarily, but this is the time I would consider the Emissary for the same role. But I think, the AoE slow that he can offer,
true. Yeah, that is true,
as well as being able to pine box, a model whose aura might be threatening, or, basically misplacing models who provide problems.
Gotcha.
I see that, yeah.
So, help mitigate some of the threats that might be coming in.
Yeah.
Okay. That is the journalist crew led by Nellie Cochran. Thanks for listening. Be sure to rate and write a review on this podcast so we can find more people almost as cool as you are. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube by searching for Third Floor Wars. That's THIRD. We'll catch you next time on the Third Floor.